Hey everybody, and welcome to the weekend. It's Friday, TGIF, and welcome to another episode of A Blind Guy,
His Wife,
Their Life Live. On this channel, we explore education and entertainment, career opportunities, and health and wellness, while we change the narrative of what it means to be normal, shifting the focus from people being disabled to being differently able. Every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at 11:15
Eastern Standard Time.
I was going to say that. I had it.
I can tell. You know, I had to get in there.
Eastern Standard Time. We spend a half hour or so with you, introducing you to people in our personal and professional networks with fascinating careers and extraordinary stories. Remember, this broadcast is member supported by viewers like you to keep this content going.
Well, you know what, guys? We always have so many things going on. So if you'd like to support this production, there's always a way to do just that. You can always go to what you see scrolling at the bottom of the screen, buymeacoffee.com/blind guy, his wife, their life. And that way you can support with as many cups of joe as you'd like. Now, I will say, Corey, that, you know, coffee is at a premium. It always is. And, you know, that means that they can choose the amount. But if you guys would just like to be nosy and find out more about us, you can definitely do so this weekend. You know, whenever we ask you all to buy us a coffee, we say, hey there, go to this website right here. This is what it looks like, buymeacoffee.com. But I have a different one to show you today. And that is the Carter G. Woodson Festival this weekend. So, hey, as you see, Tablespoon Edutainment is the 501c3 nonprofit organization that Corey and I founded 22 years ago. It's a complete production powerhouse. And we organized this festival. It's tomorrow, Saturday, February 20th. You can get early bird access, $12, general access, $15. So it's a virtual festival. Some of us will be live. Some of us will be virtual. You all can see the dynamic lineup when you go to this page here. It's going to be at the Downing Gross Cultural Arts Center. And so keep scrolling on this page is where you'll find out more about us, you know, Tablespoon Edutainment. So Corey, let me pull that page up because it didn't even show up for some reason. And I'm just scrolling. I'm just talking. Guys, this is sad. Technology is doing me wrong on a Friday. Let's see if you all can see it this time. Let's see. Yep, I see it this time, Corey.
I don't.
So you all know Corey cannot see. Corey cannot see. His eyes stopped working 26 years ago.
Right.
You know, he lost his sight. He started getting headaches, blurred vision, and all of those good things. So I read a lot of what's going on. I explain a lot of what's going on. So that way we can all stay in the know. And of course, Corey is an integral part of this particular festival with the lineup. So, hey, go check it out. I'll put it down there in the chat.
So don't forget to join us Saturday from 12 noon until 4 p.m. for a fantastic lineup for the Carter G. Woodson Virtual Black History Month Festival, featuring yours truly and yours truly.
All of us. Well, there's other folks too. So.
And a host of internationally acclaimed artists that will be performing with us as well. Now, every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, again, we always bring in special guests that have a unique and interesting lifestyle or career choices that they can talk about. Today's guest is no exception. He's going to talk to us today about how he turned a sweet jump shot into an NBA jam.
Hey.
It is none other than Dr. Randy Nelson of Bethune Cookman University. We're going to bring Dr. Nelson in to say hello to our viewing audience.
Hey, good morning. Oh, wait, I think you're muted. Let's unmute you. Did you unmute? Oh, yep. Okay.
Hello, everyone. I'm excited to be here.
All right. You know what? Not as excited as we are because, you know, Dr. Nelson, you are talking about not jump shots today, but that's what the men, I'm pretty sure, are going to want to talk about. So this is going to be exciting with all of the different training you've been doing, all of the different arenas that you move into, and of course, how the, what is it, Corey, the Magic, Orlando Magics, you know, they have honored you, and this is going to be fun.
All right. I'm looking forward to it.
We are as well. Thank you. So we'll see you soon.
So we're gonna pop you backstage, and like I said, we'll see you soon. And LaQuita Marie, you're gonna share a plant-based treat today. What is it?
Oh, guys, there's always a plant-based treat in our show. So let me just give you guys a sneak peek as to what the plant-based treat is. Well, we did say that with the Orlando Magics, what was the connection to the jam? Jam. It wasn't Teddy Riley.
No, it wasn't Teddy Riley. It was that he had turned his sweet jump shot into an NBA jam working with the Orlando Magic and other professional sports teams.
Oh, got it. So I'm just doing all my tech stuff in the background here, Corey. So you want me to give them the preview? Let's see what we got.
Two-step jam.
All right.
Two-step jam. Homemade jam made by Chef LaQuita Marie. So we're going to share that with you today as well as part of our plant-based treat. So LaQuita Marie, where do we go from here?
Well, Corey, there are so many things going on out in the world that we've just got to make sure that we are bringing in our guests with a story time. I don't know if you want to give a 5-minute story time to introduce him, or if we want to show a clip. So, I think we can do a bit of both, whereas you are very well versed with our guests. You've had numerous conversations with him. Mm-hmm. I've only had one or two. And so I think it'd be fun if, you want to get it started. We'll see where we go.
Today, his shooting guard standing at 6'2". He has a triple threat of a crossover, a sweet jump shot from the three-pointer range, and he also can glide and dunk better than Jordan could. Of course, that was when he was in college. This professor, Dr. Randy Nelson, has turned his life and has dedicated his life to taking his passion for people into the arena of social justice and combining it with his love of sports to actually help professional sports teams to increase their social justice awareness. He'll give us a lot of his own.
Wait a minute. I thought you were doing a story. This sounds like just like an announcement. Is this like an NBA announcement? What's going on with
you want me to make it more fancy?
I got 5-minute story time on the screen, so look it up.
Okay, all right, here we go. You want me to do like an NBA announcer?
Yeah, that'd be cool. Right.
And now, from Bethune Cookman University, Department of Criminal Justice, and in the Law Center for Social Justice and Change, we have today at 6'2", a former shooting guard from Florida A&M University. He is a triple threat with a crossover, a fadeaway jump shot, and he can slam dunk a training session for police officers and law enforcement of all types. He has been improving the communities around the state of Florida and working with police departments across the nation. He and his Center for Excellence there at the Bethune Cookman University are there for social justice and change. He is a lifetime champion for social justice. He is none other than today's featured guest, Dr. Randy Nelson.
Hey, I need to bring you along with me when we're around doing our trainings in the community. That sounds excellent.
Yes, that was a cool intro. See, Corey, I told you we needed a real 5-minute story time.
Got you.
How's it going this morning? How are you?
It is going, and it's sunny here. My prayers go to my family out in Texas.
Oh, so they're in that area where they're getting all the snow and they're hammered. How are they faring? Are they safe? Do they have electricity? Do they have water?
Yeah, I have a set of cousins that are in Houston and my nephews in Dallas. Dallas, he says, just a couple of broken pipes, burst pipes here and there. In Houston, they're saying the water was off for a while and they just got their lights back on. So our prayers goes out to them.
Wow, that's something. We have friends in Memphis that were saying that there were warming centers that were opening during the day. And then at night, there was something else because, people are just literally stranded. They have homes, but they don't have, the electricity in those homes have been turned off. Right. And that means they can't cook. They can't turn on a heater. So it's like, well, wait a minute. Are you just freezing the people to death? I don't know. That's not good. So
not at all.
Yeah, so our prayers and love go out to your family. That sounds a little bit scary. Well, we've got some folks in here, fans of yours. Kadista Yusuf says, greetings from Bethune Cookman University. So good to have three of my favorite people on one show. Shine bright, Dr. Nelson. And we also have Karen Pino in here saying good morning to you. Let's jump right into what you do.
So, Dr. Nelson, let's talk about just briefly. I gave a 5-minute introduction. Give us a background on how you came to be the Dr. Randy Nelson we are going to talk to today.
Okay. I was born and raised in a rural area in North Florida. 12 of us in a double wide trailer on a dirt road. And that's my life view and perspective in terms of what shaped the lens in terms of how I view the world. Not defective or deficient, but that's just the view of which I see the world through.
Right.
That has served me well. It keeps me humble, and it also gives me a burning desire to always help, because I know from whence I came. And I'm not too comfortable that if I were placed back in that situation, I still would be okay. And that's, I think, the beauty of it was that I didn't have a miserable life. We were poor, but they just forgot to tell me about it. So, so I always tell my wife, I like, being able to provide for my family, my mother, my father. I enjoyed the resources to be able to do that. But if anything happened, I would go back to the double wide trailer. I would be okay. Matter of fact, and matter of fact, sometimes I wish for those days of less stress and heartaches and headaches and everything else. So, it's something to be said about the peacefulness of being poor, but being rich with family and love.
Right. That's something. I want to say, speaking of something, I'm sorry, Corey, I'm just doing all my tech work stuff in the background. Speaking of stuff, what I wanted to bring up, Corey, was I see here that, you introduced him with that jump shot. And I want to share that Orlando Magic's, article, because XDMC, just so that he's in here saying, David Hunt is in here already saying this is such an awesome conversation. To hear that you started with humble beginnings, but like you said, you didn't know because it was a good situation, whereas XDMC Corey, he's saying one love, family, and Philip Waldo Jr. Good morning, all. This is why I said let's bring that up, because I saw Philip Waldo Jr. in here and he's like, hello, Doc. And he's giving you greetings. Blind Guy's wife is saying, Aquaba, so is Fan Brit. So Philip Waldo Jr., I'm sure he's going to get a kick out of this particular article. I know it's going to start some stuff, but we've got to share it because you were honored. You can explain it, Corey. I'll pull it up.
So, Dr.
As a
Nelson,
social justice game changer.
Dr. Nelson, you were honored by the Orlando Magic as a social justice game changer. They actually presented you with a jersey, was what I was told at halftime. You and your wife were on the court on the big jumbotron. You were living the big life back there, up to celebrity of major status now. So how did you come to work with the NBA? Because it's not just the NBA. You have the Orlando Magic that you work with, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Oh, wait, I saw that thumbs down, Corey.
I was cheering for Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, but that didn't go well. But how did you come to work with those those teams, and what do you do? What kind of work do you do for special justice?
Right. There's a whole article here. Go ahead.
Now, it's when you do things that you're purposed to do, you're allowed in places and spaces that, when I was in college at Florida A&M University, most college players, their dream is to go on and play in the NBA. Well, the NBA wasn't calling for me, and I knew that education would allow me to see and explore and obtain things that I wouldn't be if I didn't have an education. So I just switched. The same passion that I had for playing basketball, the practice, the constant making yourself better, I just applied that to education. And with me, education was when I originally went to college, I was going to be a computer programmer, computer technology, and I just couldn't see myself the rest of my life being behind a computer.
Mm-hmm.
And I always liked engaging people. So around about that time, I found out that I had a brother that I didn't know about. He was serving 15-year prison sentence as a convicted drug trafficker.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in sociology class and criminal justice, and they were talking about you can have people in the same family, one go this way. And I just got, really curious about that as a study. And from that point on, criminal justice was my career, just figuring out that. And so I went on to graduate, start out as a probation parole officer in South St. Petersburg. And they assumed that because I was Black, I understood the Black people in St. Petersburg. And that was the farthest from the truth, because once again, I was born and raised in rural North Florida. The project in St. Petersburg was bigger than my entire county.
Wow,
so
right.
It was a different set, but I was partnering with a white male that he was born and raised in North St. Pete, but he would always come over and play basketball as he was growing up on the South side with the brothers. So he was very, very comfortable with them and them with him. So I felt comfortable going in the community when I was with him, because we had to go in all type of times of night. I had a 357 Magnum. I had a cell phone in a bag and handcuffs, and that's what I had. And you going into projects at 2 o'clock in the morning, you hearing shots and all that. So I would be lying if I said I wasn't uncomfortable. I was very, very damn uncomfortable. When he was there, it was better for me. But there were times when he would offer a thing, and I had to go in myself. It was an eye-opening experience for me as a Black man.
Right.
So I think it happens a lot where people put you in situations, they assume because you're Black that all Black people are the same.
Right.
And law enforcement is the same way. I think that there are white folk that have never been around Black folk, and they only see, or their perception comes from others' TV and alike. But you also have some brothers that are in law enforcement that
haven't been around Black people, so to speak.
Yeah. And some that have been around Black people, and is a self-hate type thing that they inflict more harm than others, trying to get away from their Blackness. So you have a lot of different dynamics, and race is one of them, but there are a lot of different layers to that you'll see in this work.
Well, we have people still saying good morning. Justine Ruth, hey there. She says, good morning, family. And then we have Philip Waldo Jr. You were talking about going out late at night, not necessarily being comfortable, but Philip Waldo Jr. says, speed loader ready with the next round. So let's talk about what you were actually doing, because like you said, probation officer, yes, but we have a video that kind of sums up your work right now in social justice reform. So I'm going to share that with everyone so that they can kind of get an idea of what you're doing right now. And this particular video, I feel like it just sums it up great. And I know you agree, you shared it with us.
He has trained officers nationwide and has recently seen success with his program at the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office.
Criminal justice as a whole needs to be reformed, and that's been the case for a while.
Dr. Ryan Nelson runs the Center for Law and Social Justice at Bethune Cookman University. He spent years working to improve the relationship between law enforcement and the communities they serve.
When you can't tell friend to foe, then the profession's in trouble, and it needs to be fixed.
His training involves leadership sessions with top brass, training with patrol officers, and then he moves on to the community itself.
We'll put them in a simulator, virtual simulator, and you determine whether you shoot, don't shoot. And it gives them a healthy view of the perspective of law enforcement.
Then he brings the officers and community members who received the training together to create a solution.
The action plan gives everybody a written document of who's going to do what, whose responsibility. So when we come back in 6 months,
he can analyze the change.
As long as I see growth, that's what you're looking for.
He says right now people want training more than ever after the nationwide outrage over the death of George Floyd.
This isn't the time to do it. Times like this reveal what you've done before.
Since November, he's been setting up his program with the Orlando Police Department. And Wednesday, he had a talk with Chief Rolong and Commissioner Regina Hill about starting the program in the Paramore neighborhood.
They start the conversation way before this incident happened.
Floyd's death has caused law enforcement agencies to pause and reflect on their own practices and policies.
It's not a matter of if something like this is going to happen, it's a matter of when and where. And how your local community responds is based on the chips you have in the bank. What have you done before?
Alexa Lorenzo, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
All right, so that really gives us a lot of information. And Corey, we got somebody special here. Hey there to my favorite family, friends, and special guests.
Super Nose.
Super Nose, yes. Our kids are saying, wow, a blind guy's life, their life. Our kids are, in the chat, like, listening to this information, like, okay, so are you an NBA star? Are you a police officer? Are you training? Are you training folks to not have that, trigger finger? Like.
And speaking of the NBA, we're going to circle back to that. I know you said that since the George Floyd murder, that it's been an increased awareness of need for social justice, especially in those major sports arenas. How does that work? What do you do with those sports teams in the public arena?
Yeah, well, the Orlando Magic called me. I was doing some work in Orlando with the police department and the mayor's office. So they called me up and just out the blue, Coach Clifford, who's the head coach, and there's a brother who's assistant coach named Ty Corbin. I remember Ty because he was at DePaul when I was playing at Florida A&M, and they used to always on television and playing Georgetown. So Ty Corbin, and he played about 14, 15 years in the league. So he said, "Hey, Dr. Nelson, this is Ty Corbin." I said, "Who?" He said, "Ty Corbin." I said, "Ty DePaul." He said, "Yeah, you know it." So I was like, "Yeah." He said, "Well, I have Coach Clifford on the phone, and we were just giving your name from the mayor. And he said that you were doing some excellent work with police community engagement and our organization as a whole, but our players, everyone is interested in engaging around social justice, and we would like for you to see what you can do with us. How can we assist you in your work?" And that's how it started. And we had a community session, because Paramore, where the arena is located, is in the heart of downtown. And most of
So what you're saying is Paramore, because you're in Florida, Paramore is a neighborhood, and they're in Florida where, like you said, it's the black section, for lack of better terms, like
yeah,
it's a black urban area. So okay, fine. There's a concentration of black folks that are not necessarily affluent, just regular, everyday, hardworking people that are making the world go round, but the stadium is located in that area.
Yes.
And so, because Philip Waldo Jr. is saying the same thing, like, that's what I'm trying to figure out, Doc. How many hats do you have? And David Hunt is definitely saying, thanks for doing this work, Dr. Nelson. So so the work that you're doing, they were looking at it from the standpoint of, we need you to come in this area and make sure you diffuse situations so that it's safe for everybody. So because the community, like you said, the community blames the police. The police blames the community if there are discrepancies, and they don't realize that, wait a minute, we all want the same things. Yes. And so if people are coming here to the stadium, we all just come in to watch the game. The people that might be hawking outside of the stadium or doing whatever they're doing might be seen as a threat, when they're like, no, I'm trying to be an entrepreneur, because we have people coming into our neighborhood that, might want to buy water or flowers or whatever. Right. And so anyways, I'm just trying to keep it all in perspective, because I know Philip Waldo was saying, thanks for making a difference, Doc.
and the beauty of this is, I don't know how, I know how we got here, George Floyd, because before the NBA and NFL, they weren't calling me before all of this, so I'm not. That's not lost on me. And whether it's white guilt, whether it's capitalist guilt, whatever it is, we're at the table now, and right. I'm just as honest and raw with them about their shortcomings and their failings as I am with the community, because I can get rid of every racist police officer in America. And we just had a 2-year-old a couple of months ago killed by a drive-by shooting in Orlando, a 14-year-old maybe 2 weeks ago. So even if I got rid of every racist cop in America, our sons and daughters would still be down the street. So I think we need to address that issue
right
head on, but there are other issues that we need to address as well.
Because like you're saying, those children that were killed, they weren't killed by white cops. If it's crime, if it's white on white, white on black, black on white, black on black, what other combination? Blue on blue, you know.
Yeah.
I've got a picture.
No matter whether it's black, white, Puerto Rican, or Asian, crime is crime.
I have a picture here. This is where there was a protest going on. This is, Bethune Cookman University posted this on LinkedIn, where you, Dr. Randy Nelson, were summoned to address these 300 officers before they went out into the arenas, into the streets where the protesters were. And so your job was to address them. Tell us about this, how you were trying to make sure they were ready with the perspective of what they were going out to do, because this is part of the work you do. In addition to jump shots and whatnot, this is what you do. You are speaking to the community members. You're speaking to police officers. You're the mediator, so to speak. Explain this.
No, Chief Rolone, who I have much respect for with the Orlando Police Department, and I know that he's got some hits from bringing me in, because when folk hear social justice, police officers in particular, they think they're against us.
Right.
And I'm for all good cops. I'm against bad cops all day, every day, and we all should be. So the conversation that we were having, and like I said, he just wanted me to see they had set up the command and they were doing all of this. And then lo and behold, he said, Dr. Nelson, can you address these my guys before they go out? And I'm looking at him, and you know how your grandparents always say, have a prayer in your heart? Because I'm like, I hadn't planned to say anything to him. And so what I told him was just to be mindful that Dr. King said that riots are the voice of the unheard. Mm-hmm. And I'm for a peaceful protest all day, every day. I'm not into burning down your own stuff to show other folk that you're mad. I'm not into that. But mm-hmm. I do understand the rage behind that.
Right.
So it's a difference. I understand. I don't condone anybody blowing up or damaging their property or someone else's that they work hard for. But I understand the rage behind it. So what I was telling them is that as a police officer, you have the authority to take life and liberty under the guise of the law. The president of the United States doesn't have that power. So you should be held to a higher standard. And that standard is you have to defend folk that think you're the scum of the earth. And you have to do it with a smile. And when you can't do that, you shouldn't be in law enforcement. So while you're out and you're doing what you need to do in terms of monitoring the protests, making sure everything is safe, if you're in your head that these people are against me, your attitudes, both direct and indirect, will reflect that. And I say you have to remember first and foremost that you're a servant. These people you are serving, so that's what you need to do. Now, if someone is out of hand and you have to arrest them, absolutely. Right. You have to do that. But even in that, there's a way that you do it.
That's what Fan Britt is talking about. She says, yes, hard truths must be dealt with. One thing I want to definitely share is the work that you're doing. You're talking about, yes, we're out here, we're training the police officers, we're doing what we can, but I definitely want to bring up this particular article. Well, it's actually an APB, or an all points bulletin, because
they weren't looking for Dr. Nelson. That's the name of the bulletin, the newsletter.
And you know what, Corey? JP was like, those fight dog lyrics. I caught that, Corey.
Yeah, fight dog. Black, white, Puerto Rican, and Asian.
Right. No matter what, keep the violence down. There is no reason for it. So here's the thing. There's one particular article that you shared with us where the question was, why are police agencies, I'm going to go up to the title, why Florida police agencies are still so white? But of course, I know, right? And I think it's crazy because people like to just look at it, white, black, but it's not that simple, because like you were explaining to us, well, you have to know the demographics of an area. So, you know, when you were featured, I know one of your articles, it was featured in the All Points Bulletin, the APB, where you were saying this is the sheriff's and the deputy sheriff's publication. They're a very conservative group. And right here, we see this is some of your work. You know, Florida's historically Black colleges and universities. That's the university where you are, Bethune Cookman, and the Florida Sheriff's Association lead the way. So they're talking about you. You know, they've got you, Dr. Randy B. Nelson, Dr. Khadisti Yusuf. So we're seeing things. You all are at the table, like you're saying, you're having the conversation. But right here at the bottom, there's also the Center for Civic Engagement at Bethune Cookman University. That's where you all are doing the training with police officers. Explain to us a little bit about that training, because like I said, is it because the police officers are white? Is it because they're Black? You know, there is such a thing as implicit bias, where you're just going to want to be connected to the people that look like you. So that means us women, we always side with each other. I don't know why you men think that's a problem, but I get it. It's the implicit bias. You know, children prefer children, cats prefer cats. So is it that the police officers, like they said, why are the agencies still so white? What are the demographics of Florida? Explain that to us.
Yeah, no, that's it. Florida has 67 counties. And of those 67 counties, one is predominantly Black. That's Gaston County. And within the last 8 years, they elected their first ever Black sheriff. So Florida, you can go from rural to urban, and the sheriffs are the highest ranking law enforcement official in each county. So right now, I think we currently have maybe 3 Black sheriffs. We have one in Leon County, which is Tallahassee, Gaston County, which I mentioned, and I think there was one appointed in Broward County. So you have that makeup, but it's one of those things that, as you said before, I think everything is self-preservation. I think when you get down to it, it's self-preservation. Folk, you come out of the womb, you know, babies know to nurse, you know,
right.
So and puppies know where to go find to nurse. You come out with self-preservation in mind. And I think our whole dynamic as a people, when we talk about Donald Trump and that's poor, and they want to understand why poor white folks support Donald Trump. It's self-preservation. They see him as the last vestige of white privilege, and that's what he is. So that's why and if I would have flipped that and used my sons as an analogy, the fact that they're not living in a double wide trailer like I am. If I were to take that from them and put them in the double wide trailer, the reason that they're living where they're living now is all because of Daddy. It doesn't have anything to do with them. So that's unmerited privilege by virtue of me. And if you were to take that away from it, it would be the same thing. It's self-preservation and everybody's self-interest. And we just have to recognize that. Now, what I'm not willing to do is hold down your child so my child can succeed. And I think that's what a lot of folk are willing to do, politically, socially, and otherwise.
So that makes sense. You know, we definitely look at what we have, how can we get it, you know, self-preservation. So when you're doing the training with these police officers, you're trying to make sure that they don't think about self-preservation first, or they don't think about, oh, this is another man, I'm going to definitely be more gracious because he's a man, whether it's white or Black. And then of course it comes into white, Black, Asian, what is he? You know, so this particular news article, a local news station there in Florida, they were discussing that. Does implicit bias police training actually work? You know, and this is you here talking to the interviewer, where, you know, she's discussing with you guys, does it actually work? I'm going to play a short clip.
And every 4 years after that, do you think every 4 years is enough?
Personally don't. Just as Florida is committed to advancing and evolving the tactical aspect, I think we're behind when it comes to communication. I think all this is a part of communication, de-escalation. It's the same conversation. So no, I think we're behind.
The Florida Department of Law Enforcement's instructor manual.
All right. So that's, that's where your work is. You're working to try to change that implicit bias so that when the officers go out, you are directly training them at the Civic Center or the Civic Engagement Center.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
And
we
then,
do both. They'll come here or we'll go to the agency and train as well. But yeah, that training is just that. And, I'll get in a room of white folk and I'll tell them to write down what they want for them and their families. And after they do all that, I say, sign my damn name. I mean, I don't think we want the same thing, whether you're black, white, green or yellow, Jew or Gentile, rich or poor. We all want a safe and nurturing environment to raise our family. We all want that.
Safe and nurturing.
Yeah. So let's start there. Now, the other thing with implicit and explicit bias, like I said, I was born and raised in rural North Florida. So the lens in which I see the world is through those lived and shared experiences. When I came out of the academy with the badge and my mom said it was the same badge that you're wearing now that they hosed us down when we were peacefully protesting civil rights in Tallahassee. That was the same badge that they had. So police have to understand that. So they think that, I'm not a part of all that. I'm here now and I'm here to serve. And then the black community is looking at them with the John the sign. They're like, well, why? I wasn't involved with any of that. Well, and the fact that you don't know that, that's what I'm saying. So when you're interacting with the community, you can't help a people unless you know a people. And that's part of that conversation, that you don't have to be a part of it, but you have to recognize that. And that's in the DNA of policing, so if as a police officer, you don't understand and recognize that. Now, on the other side of that, we all have our biases. We would be lying if we said we didn't. If I were to pull over a white male in rural North Florida with a swastika and a Confederate flag in the back, I have in my mind who I think he is. Now, he may have been borrowing someone else's car, but that's who I see. The same way, if I pull over a brother at 1 o'clock in the morning with a gold grill, saggy pants, twist, shining, he may be an A student. He very well may be an A student, but in my black man's head, I see him. I think he's something. A white officer would do the same thing.
Right. It's just the difference.
The difference is, and I tell the police officers, the difference is that you're held to a higher standard because you can take life or liberty. You have to treat that young man just like you would treat your mother, unless and until his action dictated otherwise.
Right.
And if a law enforcement officer can't do that, he's in the wrong profession.
So
and the professionals need to get them out. The profession themselves need to get those type of officers out. And then there's a responsibility in the black community. If you go to black churches, black families, we all talk, we want our sons and daughters to be doctors, lawyers. Law enforcement is never part of that conversation.
Yeah.
I think we can always be on the picketing and protesting side of it, or we can identify our best and our brightest to go in. That's what we do here at Bethune Cookman University. I'm not trying to develop a police officer. We're trying to develop the next chief, the sheriff who called the shots. That's what this is about. It's about leadership. So those are the conversations that we have to have, because if we don't, you either get what someone else gives you, good, bad, or indifferent. So
accountability is where we are.
So with the programs you're creating at Bethune Cookman, that ties right back into the basketball, the Orlando Magic, and the Jacksonville Jaguars. What are they doing at Bethune Cookman to make sure that those people, those African Americans, are coming into the community, from the communities, to come into the schools, to go into criminal justice?
Right. So we'll wrap it up with this question. I don't know if you have your jersey underneath, if the hoop is nearby, because people want to see that. But go ahead. We'll let you finish with this. If we don't get the hoops in, that's fine. Go ahead.
No. The Coach Clifford, once again, he called me this summer. He spearheaded and he put up the first $25,000. So we have 4 professional sports organizations, markets in Florida. We have Jacksonville Jaguars, NFL in Jacksonville, Orlando Magic and Orlando. In Tampa, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Tampa Bay Lightning, and the Tampa Bay Rays. In Miami, we have the Miami Dolphins, the Heat, and the Marlins. They're all, we're still working out the kinks, but they're all on board where each one is donating $100,000 towards a scholarship for for individuals of color to come from their community to go to attend one of the 4 HBCUs, and then they'll come here to Bethune Cookman in the summer for our residential leadership program, and full ride. Then when they go back home, they have to serve 3 or 4 years in the law enforcement profession.
Wow.
So yeah, that's putting your money where your mouth is.
Exactly. And speaking of putting your money where your mouth is, Philip Waldo Jr. asked, is Doc still playing above the rim?
The jump shot works, but the jumping, that's it.
Well, Dr. Nelson, we appreciate you. And I just want to say this. I know we were having a frank conversation before. I just want to just say this to one of your colleagues who is watching, Dr. Yusuf. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. Mars.
Wait, he's already laughing at the
Mars is an acronym that stands for Men Are Always Right, Sisters.
Oh, hold on. You know what? And he's clapping. Oh, you know what?
And if you agree with that, fellas, put it in the comments. Come on, XDC. Come on, Philip. Come on, David Hunt.
Last night he said sometimes, but he said always right, sisters. So okay.
So let's go ahead on and look, JP is in here talking about what has the final say. Like, ... has the final say. And Philip Waldo Jr. is shouting out Dr. K. You know what? This ain't fair, because I agree. Last night it was men are right sometimes. That's what Mara stands for. We're gonna need some bias training and implicit bias. We need some social justice reform over here. So, we might have to call on you a little bit, get some help going on. But this has been fantastic to get to know you so that everybody knows.
You say it right. Okay. Dr. Nelson's work with the NBA has been fantastic.
I don't have the announcer voice, and hey, I can barely understand kickball, so sports ain't my thing. But this has been great. The folks have enjoyed this. And Philip Waldo Jr. says, "Going down in flames with you, Corey."
Thank you, Philip. Thank you. I had one of my brothers out there going down with me.
Right. Justine says, "Respect, Dr. Nelson. Thank you for your hard work and commitment to making this world a better place." And of course, LaShonda Brooks is chiming in saying, "Awesome story. Hey, Shonda Brooks, so appreciative of your work, Dr. Nelson. Hope one day this type of training is provided to all officers." Absolutely. That's the goal, right? To not just do it here, but to constantly expand it and grow it. And that's why you're trying to get more people into the programs, get sponsored so that they have the scholarships and whatnot. So thank you again for being here today.
Thank you. I enjoyed the discourse, and I think that this type of conversation and productive conversation, I think, lift all boats.
Yes, right, yes. Right. Well, we will see you soon, and we do have our jam for the plant-based treats, and that's in relation to, because I keep singing Teddy Riley. I'm sorry.
NBA Jam.
NBA Jams. I keep saying it wrong. All right.
So we'll put you backstage.
See you soon.
Take care.
The broadcast. And now it's time for today's plant-based treat.
Two-step jam. Just 2 steps.
Jam, 2-step jam, 2-step jam.
And there are a couple of bonus ingredients that you can use. If you'd like to sweeten it, just use sugar. If you'd like to brighten the flavor, you can add a squeeze of lemon juice. I find using a very small container is great. This is an empty gum container. So once you're finished with gum, if you buy something like this, pull off the wrapper, everything comes completely off. You end up with this.
Step 1, add frozen fruit. Fill up the container that I ate all the gum out of. Hey! Tee-hee. Step 2, add a tablespoon of chia seeds.
I like a little bit of sugar, so I'm gonna put like a teaspoon, half a teaspoon, not much, of sugar. And I like to brighten up the flavor. So there we have it. A little bit of lemon juice. That's it. We're gonna shake it up, since these kind of thawed out anyways. And then I'll shake it up again. But I'm gonna show you this, guys, in about 20 minutes. I'm gonna leave it on the counter. Break up the berries a little bit.
I like it with more sugar. We added that and it tasted great. Enjoy!
All right, that was a special tribute to Dr. Nelson and
Yes.
NBA Jam, Bull Jam.
Well, Corey, this has been great. Unfortunately, David Hunt is saying Mars, but he is saying, fortunately, men are right sometimes. So I like that. Okay, he brought it on home. You know, he fixed it up.
That's because his wife was probably sitting nearby. He was laughing too hard at the joke.
Yes, and then YSXT is singing, yeah, shake it up and wake it up. Oh, yeah. Y'all doing a lot in these chats. Guys, we hope to see you tomorrow in our virtual production. Of course, all you have to do, I got to drop it into the chat. I got to drop it into the description, all of those places. All you got to do is check out the Carter G. Woodson Festival with Otten Pond Edutainment. So, of course, Otten Pond Entertainment is our nonprofit 501c3 organization that Corey and I founded years and years and years ago when he was a spring chicken. And you're not a spring chicken anymore.
Yes, I am.
Here's all the info, gives you the run of show. You get a unique link when you purchase your ticket. And Corey, tell them about where they can sit.
And you can purchase your ticket and sit in the best seat in the house, and that's the couch in your house.
Hey, the couch in your house. So, guys, we hope you have enjoyed today. We definitely have had a great time. We're counting you down to the weekend. So, Corey, what should they do at this point?
We just want to say thank you to our special guests, and tune in next week, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday for more exciting interviews and more fun with our special guests that we have next week on the next week's episode of A Blind Guy,
His Wife,
Their Life Live. And to say goodbye, we're going to say, instead of deuces, since Dr. Nelson was a shooting guard, we're going to say trade. Deuces.
Deuces.